Hey guys, this is Alex Dibison, and this is the second video in a series of videos detailing the creation and implementation process of a user story. Specifically, user story number 2416 for the BreazeHome project, which goes over creating the view competition for property feature. Now, if you have any questions about the user story number 2416, please feel free to contact me. I'll be displaying my contact information at the end of the video. And if you have any questions about the BreazeHome application as a whole, please feel free to contact Professor Masood Sajadi, who is acting as mentor and product owner for the project. I'll also be displaying his contact info at the end of the video. So, in the last video, we created the user story number 2416 on the Mango website and went over how to manage the user story and its tasks using the sprint board. We also completed the requirements elicitation and requirements analysis for the user story and created a use case diagram from the requirements. In this video, we'll be looking at the system design for the user story and how to transition from system design to object design. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to want to do is go back to the Mingle website and visit our storyboard, because there are things that need to be updated. Now, we completed the use case diagram, so we can move it from in development to done. And we also completed the requirement analysis, so we can now move this to done as well. Now, in this video, we're not going to start creating the API endpoint or the front-end service. We'll actually be looking at the system design and also be looking at the object design as well. So what we can do is create a task as so. Type in system design, write a short description detailing what this task is for. Alright, create a system design for the view competition for a property user story number 2416. Alright, and we're gonna create some points. Let's say this will only take maybe an hour and a priority is must. We add, and now we have our task over here. So let's move it now into development, since we're going to be working on that in this video. So for this user story, a lot of the details for the system design can actually be found on the BreazeHome wiki page. Here we can see our 4-tier architecture. So first thing I'm going to want to do is we're going to want to go to contribution, and we can see our architecture. So this is the architecture behind our project, and here we can identify what we'll need to work and develop in user story number 2416. So in this user story, we're going to focus on the desktop. So in the presentation layer, we're going to want to use the BreazeHome desktop website version. Now moving on to delivery tier, we're going to want to send and retrieve viewing data using the BreazeHome API. So we're going to be using this. Now in the data aggregation tier, I'll be updating data with the BreazeHome CRUD services, and finally we'll be storing and getting all of this data through the BreazeHome database. Now it's by looking at this system design that I'm able to get a good idea of how I want to implement the user story, and I have an idea of how everything's connected. Now when it's time to transition from this to the object design, viewing the BreazeHome Git repo is key for this. and I can get a good grasp on the various classes needed by looking at the Git repo. So we'll be moving on to there next. So once I'm here at the Git BreazeHome website, I can start to get a feel of what it is I'm going to need to transition from the system design to object design. Now when we were looking at the system design, we already decided that we were going to be implementing this for the desktop. So when I look at the BreazeHome desktop, which we're going to go over here, I'm going to start navigating through these folders, going through app, and we're looking at the scripts, which are going to run everything, and the controllers, which are going to run my pages. And right here, a couple things jump out at me. Right, I can see controllers for the details page and the results page, because I want to show the viewing data for a specific property. And most likely I'm going to want to do this on a details page, since the details actually show the property. The details of a property. Alright, so if I click on a details page, I already start to look here, and already I can see that I'm getting property data by using this object called properties. And this properties object is actually another service. Alright, so I'm already getting an idea of how everything's connected, how I'm going to be going through the details controller. I need to access this property service. So I go back out, I go to the services, and I can see properties here. And here I don't see something that gives me viewing data, so this is where I'm going to want to create my method to get the viewing data, because I can see a bunch of other methods, one where I get filters, I can get search options, I can get all properties, I can get properties by city, a bunch of different type of methods. There's one even to get properties by ID. So here it's where I want to actually create my method that's going to get the viewing data of my property. Okay, and already when I'm looking at here, I can see that I'm making these API requests by accessing properties and details in the back end. So already I can see how this front end is connected to the back end. So with that said, I can now go back out of this repo and then now look at my back end repo. Alright, and we already decided that we're gonna make a API to send and receive this information. So I go to this repo, and I'm confronted with these apps over here: Breeze, Neighborhood, Real Estate, and User. Since I want property data, we're going to want to go into Real Estate. And here I can see models, views, filters, serializers, everything. And if I go in models, I can see that the models is creating the models that are in my database. So already I can see that I'm going to want to create some type of class here where I can store my viewing data in this models file. Alright, and then when I go to the views, I can see these views are what are used to actually query data. Alright, this one's to get property view, and I'm gonna probably want to make something called maybe some viewing data set. So I'm already getting a general idea just by looking at the Git repos, how I want to transition from the system design I decided into actual object design and what objects I'm going to need to implement this. So we'll actually move on to object design and start creating class and sequence diagrams in the next video. Now, once again, if you have any questions about what we went over in this video, feel free to contact me at my email, which is right over here, or via my LinkedIn account, which is right over here. And if you have any questions about the BreazeHome application as a whole, feel free to contact Professor Sajati via his email, which is listed right here.